use the rotary tool on our laser cutter. So if this is something you have missed in one of our workshops or trainings, you use this to kind of catch yourself up on how to use this cool device. So, two things we are going to really go over today. One is that we are going to go over how to set up your artboard, and two, Chantal, there's going to be graphics up here. No, we can't do graphics because it's a live stream. Okay. Okay, so I'm just pointing at nothing.
You're pointing at nothing.
Okay. Little heads up next time, thanks. So we're going to do two things: setting up your artboard for the rotary tool, and we are going to look at how to install it and set it up to actually do the etching. So let's get started, and let's actually get to our artboards. So, wrong one. We are going to look at if you have a cylinder. So if you have something like this lovely glass here, your artboard needs to be set up a specific way. So you want the height of the glass to be the width on your artboard. You want the circumference, which if you remember from geometry class, is pi times diameter. Pro tip, just use 3 and do some rounding. You don't have to use 3.1415 or a calculator, just 3 times the number and round it up a little bit, and you'll get close enough to what your circumference is. And that is the height on your artboard. When you look at this, because basically we're taking the net, we're unrolling it, and we get this rectangle. The top of the glass is here, the bottom of the glass is here. It's actually pretty irrelevant where your design goes lengthwise because it's a circle. So you can put it anywhere. You will want to decide where you want it centered because that will affect the height at which it ends up on your glass. So your design, if we're just doing a logo or words, I want it to be going up the glass like this because the top of the glass is here. Once you get that all set on a nice regular shape like this, you should set your design to 80% opacity. You should do 60% speed. You should do 100% power and the stucky pattern when you actually go and do your print settings. So, you might be saying, Ben, I'm not an old Scottish man. I don't just go and drink whiskey all day. I'm an American. I need a beer. So you want one of these. This is a little different because we Americans, we drink out of frustums, all right? So we need to know how to set up for a frustum, or you might call it a boring old pint glass. Well, because of the shape of it, it's a cone with its top lopped off. We have different diameters at top and bottom, actually all the way through the glass. You're going to do many of the same things when setting up your artboard for this. You still need the glass height, how tall it is, to be the width of your artboard. You also need the circumference, in this case, pi times 2r. 2r is still the diameter. And that will be the height of your artboard. But there are two diameters here. You have your large one and your small one. I tend to start with the large one. Since we're going to be in the middle of the glass, you might actually pull that, just estimate it a little lower than what you calculate. And now we can do the same thing. Design still goes up, but with this design, we can't leave it we can't just leave it in its proportions. It will end up elongated if you don't change your design. And you're like, Ben, how do I change my design? Well, we're going to use the rate of change. So we want to know the difference between the top and the bottom. So you take the top circumference minus the bottom circumference. You divide it over the total height of the glass, and that's the rate at which it changes, and that's the rate at which you squish your design by. If you don't like that, just squish your design up a little bit. Just squish it, make a guess. It's not going to be as good as mine with using the rate of change, but it'll be fine. And now you have everything set up, you're ready to print, and we can actually transition over to installing the rotary tool. Come on. So the rotary tool, where does it live? We are working on laser 3 right now, And laser 3, and I think we can just see my feet here, laser 3 has where the rotary tool lives right underneath it, and that is in the flex space. So we're going to pull the rotary tool out. We can see what it looks like. Well, once we pull it out, we now need to get it installed. So I'm going to move up to the laser, and we're going to look at how we install it. So the first thing we need to do, turn the laser on, lower the bed. I've already done this step because I didn't want to go through it on the live stream. So once we lower the bed, we'll open up the front hatch. We will remove the etching and cutting bed. Thank you. So now we just have the open bed down here. We are going to take the rotary tool, and we are going to install it in the corner of this bed. So top left corner of the bed, there are two cables. These two cables get plugged in to the right, top kind of right side of the laser. You're going to see the two plugs that match, and we simply plug them in. Now the laser is ready to go with the rotary tool. It is going to actually automatically adjust to the rotary tool. So as I lift the bed, we will turn the laser and fan on. And we're going to see the laser first just adjust to having the rotary tool in it. It automatically senses it and gets into position. It's exciting, right? Mary, how's your day going? Great? Yeah, good. Good. Did you know this was live? Did you know this was live? Yeah, Chantal, apparently I don't know what a live stream is. Don't even get the concept. Thank you. All right, so we're loading up. Laser's moving. And see how it comes right out over the rotary tool? So it's why it's really important just to get the rotary tool in that corner, because the laser is automatically going to adjust itself over it. Once it's done setting up, we are going to move the bed up to get it closer. I'm going to stop with the bed leveling, and I'm going to take my frustum, and I'm going to put it into the rotary tool. So you see there's this little clamp here that goes underneath the glass that lets it rotate on these wheels, and the back of the glass goes there. To compensate for having a bunch of different glasses, the rotary tool has a little jack, basically. So here, there's this little thing I turn, and it actually raises the glass up and down. So now I'm going to take some time to try and get my glass completely level using our focusing tool. So first, I'm going to slide my focusing tool over to one edge, and I'm going to go back to my level, and I'm going to drop it so it's just not touching the focusing tool. All right. Then I'm going to go to my jog setting, and I'm going to slide it over, and I'm going to then try and keep that level the same and raise up my glass on the other end till it is same thing, just not touching. And once it's there, for these purposes, I'm going to say good enough. It's where I want it. If you want to, you can also run it along the glass and make sure it doesn't like fall off or get hit, so we can see that it's like mostly or pretty much perfectly level. And then I can take that off, and now I'm ready to etch. So let's look at etching. I have my file up here. So we're making Alex a lovely glass. And the generator logo is a little bit squished because I don't want it to be too elongated because of how the pint glass will affect it when we etch. When I want to go and etch, I'm going to go to print. I'm going to go to setup. I am going to do preferences. We are going to do a speed of 60%. We are going to do power 100. I am going to choose the Stucky pattern. I'm actually going to put it on just rastering so I know no cutting is happening in case there's an error in my file. I will press OK. I will press print. I think I have it all the way I want, so I will press print. And this will send the rotary tool over to laser 3. All right, quick side note, this rotary tool only works on laser 2 and laser 3. It does not work on the big new laser. So you can only use this on the smaller lasers here at Generator. All right, it's over here, and what I'm going to do, since I see my job in the laser, is I'm going to run it. I'm going to turn the laser light on, and I'm going to hit go, and I'm going to see, is it where I want it? And I think that's pretty good. This is something you might have to play around with because you might not be perfect first time exactly where you want it on the glass. So if it's not quite right, you can actually adjust your image, either where the origin is or anything else to get it correct. So I think that looks pretty good. I'm going to reset. I'm going to close the lid. And we are going to hit play. Now what's really cool about things like this, especially about frustums, is if we're looking at it, the top of the glass is rotating slower than the bottom of the glass. Like the bottom of the glass is rotating quicker. And I think if we really wanted to be perfect with our etchings, we'd have to start doing some calculus and do some related rates. So those of you who are up for that, please send some comments in about how to do that, and we'd love to hear it. So as I'm watching this, I'm seeing that it might be a little lower than I wanted. I would definitely recommend doing some test runs. Because hey, when you do something for the first few times, it doesn't always end up perfect. Epilogue also has a tutorial on their website, so I'd also recommend, if this didn't give you enough information, one, you probably weren't listening, and two, go to their website. Epilogue has one of these tutorials on how to use the rotary tool. Those of you who are watching this and finding this relaxing, please send us some replies and some comments. We'll put up more content so you can watch a laser go back and forth. If this relaxes you, let us know. 5 minutes so far. Premium content. Yeah, great question from Mary. Does this show you how much the project is done? This one, no. Our new laser, which is awesome, tells you exactly how long it's been. The laser 3 and laser 2, you need to look ahead of time and see, it'll tell you how long the project is, and then you need to keep track. So right now I know it's 5 minutes, 5.5 minutes have passed. We're almost there. What? Almost. I think this is the light bulb part. Yes, we just hit the light bulb part. Once again, this is what the people want to see. Yeah. Great question. I think anything cylindrical we could get in there, or conical. Anything that could rotate, I think wooden dowels, if we remove the little grabber, we could get wooden dowels in there, or anything round, because it just needs to rotate. So that would be a whole list of materials that we have and that people learn in their trainings. Right now, like definitely wood, glass. There are some acrylics. There are certain like corks and paper and plywoods, but definitely go to our website on approved materials. You can do stone. Sometimes you can, like glass like this etches, sometimes you have to do something different. You can do metals, but sometimes you need a spray paint to etch into metals. So our glass is done. All right, I'm gonna move over here. All right, so there you have it, everyone. Things I would change is obviously my origin was a little bit too far down. I would drag this up, and that actually made it even more elongated than I wanted, even though I squished it because I expected it to be up here. But you live and you learn. So that way, hopefully you won't make the same mistake that I did. And now you can etch glasses, and you can be the envy of everyone at any social event you go to. Just design for like, oh, hey, I'm going to zero gravity. Make a glass that says zero gravity, and you'll have it there. And people will be wondering, whoa, where did you get that glass? And you're like, oh, I must have gotten the last one. They were giving them out. So come to Generator, make a glass, have a lovely day.